Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. The second video of the day. This wee video is an update on transfer news, loan news, Brendan Rodgers press conference, and also a preview of Tuesday evening's game against Dundee. In this video, we'll also have a wee look at my predicted lineup for tomorrow's game against Dundee, my predicted score, as well as touching on some of the issues raised by Brendan Rodgers at his press conference and the news on several possible loans and transfers in and out of Celtic over the next few weeks of the transfer window. Brendan Rodgers had a press conference this afternoon updating on the injury situation. Nicholas Kuhn apparently is back in full training as of today and available for selection tomorrow. Dyson Maida had an extra day off and will be getting assessed in the morning. I would suspect, given that, he's not going to be risked into tomorrow night's game on Tuesday against Dundee and instead kept for the Kilmarnock Cup match at the weekend. In addition, he said that Luis Palma was back with the squad after his bereavement leave due to losing a second grandparent in quick succession, and that Luis Palma will be part of the squad for the Dundee match on Tuesday evening. In his press conference, he was also full of praise for Yang, saying Yang was a very hard-working player, gave 100% each time. However, Rodgers did recognise that Yang's performances can be inconsistent, but he was full of praise for Yang's performance against Ross County at the weekend. He also was praising Adam Ida's contribution and saying even though Ida's not scoring quite as many goals as he did last season, he's still contributing in playing as the target man as required and was involved in some of the goals and chances in the game against Ross County, and just unfortunately had not managed to put away one or two chances which he had got in that game. Also, he was full of praise also for Johnny Kenny, making his full debut in that game and showing quite a few signs of promise. And when asked about the situation regarding Luis Palma, Rodgers seemed to indicate that there were no current moves for Luis Palma leaving the club, either as a transfer or a loan, but did kind of imply that if Celtic did manage to get in a player or two to cover the wide positions, that potentially Luis Palma or other players could be allowed to leave on loan or transfer if they had managed to get in extra cover to cover those positions. I personally can't see Luis Palma leaving Celtic until after the two Champions League games are completed. James Forrest is out for both of those games due to injury. Dyson Maida obviously has missed a game or two just recently. Nicholas Kuhn missed a couple of games. And so if Kuhn or Maida got injured again in the next game or two, that would leave us with a rather empty cupboard for the games against Bern and Aston Villa to complete our Champions League campaign. So I don't see Luis Palma leaving until after those games are done, as he's part of the European Champions League squad, and any players that we buy in the January window won't be eligible for those two games and would only be eligible for the second phase of the competition if we get that far. Just a wee chat about transfer news in and out. A lot of stories circulating that Luis Palma is off to Rayo Vallecano on a loan for the rest of the season, and then a £2.1 million purchase at the end of that. I find those stories difficult to believe, as there are plenty of stories also out there saying Celtic have turned down bids of 4 and even 5 million for Luis Palma in the summer transfer window, and some stories at the start of January that Celtic had also turned down bids of 3-4 million for Luis Palma. And as I said, I don't think Palma will leave the club until after the Champions League games are complete at the end of January at the earliest. And even then, only, as I said, if Rodgers manages to buy a player or two to come in to back up Kuhn and Maeda ahead of Forrest and Yang. On that matter, there don't appear to have been any progress in signing Sondre Oschetter from Sapsborg, nor Bouzmana Toure coming from Hammarby in Sweden, or Gustav Isaksson coming from Lazio, or any other wide players coming into the club. Some stories that a couple of English Championship teams are looking to sign Greg Taylor, and currently it would appear that Hull, Trabzonspor in Turkey, and Dinamo Zagreb are three teams who have made definite approaches to sign Taylor on a pre-contract. However, stories are that Taylor's first choice is to remain at Celtic, but as yet the contract negotiations haven't reached a compromise between Taylor's demands and Celtic's thoughts as to where he fits into the squad structure and salary structure. And it does appear there had been some interest in signing Kyogo at Atlanta in Major League Soccer, being the team that was most keen to sign him. But at the moment, it does appear that transfer interest in Kyogo and has died away. Rodgers kind of said that if a player wants to leave the club, he and the club won't stand in their way. But he didn't seem at any point to be indicating Kyogo was unhappy, and indeed seemed to imply that Kyogo was just himself and as happy and content at Celtic as he has been for the last few seasons. And so it would appear stories of Kyogo leaving the club in the January window do seem, again, just stories, rumours, speculation, gossip, and nothing concrete. And indeed, to summarise things, nothing concrete in any way of any players definitely coming in or definitely leaving. Lots of stories, lots of gossip, lots of rumours, all circulating at the moment. Hopefully, over the next couple of weeks or so, everything gets firmed up. And by the end of the month, we know just who we are keeping, who are leaving, and who are coming back after a loan spell away. Moving on to tomorrow's game, Tuesday evening's game against Dundee. The game has an 8 o'clock kickoff in Dundee. Game will be live on Sky Sports. And Celtic will be looking to restore their 18-point lead at the top of the table. I suspect that Rodgers may well keep the main structure of his team that he used against Ross County, apart from bringing back Nicholas Kuhn on the right wing and bringing back Greg Taylor at left back. I think otherwise the team will stay the same, other than possibly bringing in Paulo Bernardo into midfield to take Rio Hatate's place. So my predicted team for the Tuesday evening game against Dundee: Schmeichel in goals, Alsa Johnson, Carter Vickers, Trusty, and Greg Taylor in defence, Callum McGregor, and Paulo Bernardo and Arnie Engels in midfield, and out wide on the right, Nicholas Kuhn, out wide on the left, Yang, and through the middle, Kyogo. Other possibility is they may keep Kuhn on the bench and keep going with the Kyogo outright and either through the middle. That's another good option. And Brendan Rodgers was a wee bit vague in his press conference today as to just whether he'll be playing Kyogo and Ida up front. Will they be using Kyogo out wide right on a regular basis? And it was a wee bit cards close to his chest regarding both tomorrow's game selection and also long-term plans of pairing up Kyogo and Ida, etc. My own prediction for tomorrow's game is I think it's going to be a nice tight game. Dundee are well organised, well structured, good defensive team. They've given us a few problems in the past. Last time we played them, we won 2-0. Took a bit of time in that game to break them down. And we, at the end of last season, did go to Dundee as well, winning 2-1. And I can see a game similar to that tomorrow. My predicted score for tomorrow is a 2-0 win for Celtic, which again would put us 18 points ahead at the top of the table prior to our big rivals game the next day on the Wednesday. Looking at some stats for Dundee against Celtic. Celtic have won 11 games in a row against Dundee. Dundee haven't beaten Celtic in any game for 23 years, since May 2001. Over that period, since 2001, Celtic have 38 wins and 6 draws, so an incredibly high level of success there. Celtic last lost away from home to Dundee in Dundee 36 years ago in September 88, and over that period since September 88, 38 wins and 6 draws away from home against Dundee for Celtic. And on Tuesday evening, Celtic have 8 wins in a row in the league, and so again, Tuesday evening games, quite a lucky evening day for Celtic, and the last time they actually didn't win on a Tuesday evening league game was against Dundee, a 0-0 draw in April of 2016. Looking at Dundee's form coming into this game on Tuesday evening, Dundee in their last 5 games have 2 wins, 2 defeats, and 1 draw. They, of course, did give our big rivals Rangers a difficult game just recently, but I think we'll be able to break them down better than our rivals failed to do when they played them last week. That just about finishes things off for today's video. I'm planning to do a video or 2 tomorrow, depending on how things pan out in terms of transfer, loan, new contract, and player news. And we'll be doing a post-match review video of the Dundee evening match on Tuesday. I'll be doing that video early on Wednesday morning. And so until the next video, goodbye and hail, hail.